Welcome back to the Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be covering over an old favorite that's returning to the metagame with Prismatic evolutions, and that's going to be Lost Zone Tina. Now, if you're wondering how this deck is returning, that's a great question because I was wondering it too. I really saw this deck online over this past weekend. Evan Campbell, strong player, was able to make top 4 at their League Cup, and I started thinking about it and I was like, you want to know what? I think they're cooking a little bit. I was looking for a deck that could beat block control and had a decent matchup spread against the metagame. And with a lot of these decks that Lost Tina was struggling with in our current metagame, such as Regigigas taking a little bit of a back seat. We don't need to worry about Kyurem as much. And of course, we have Regigigas getting added into this deck because we could power it up with Mirage Gates. We have a lot of answers to the top decks in the form of Lugia V-Star can either get knocked out with Temple of Sinnoh, Lost Impact, Star Requiem. We have access to Bloodmoon Ursaluna for late game into any aggressive decks like Miraidon. We have Radiant Greninja in case we need to double snipe Pokemon such as Dreepies or Routes. Gigas can hold its own against Dragapult, Charizard, Ceruledge, and of course Cramorant and Sableye are always going to be able to kind of pivot into these knocking out single prize card Pokemon, setting up multi-prize card turns. We have Crispin for good measure against decks like Badoo. Maybe we aren't able to use Mirage Gate, we are able to use Crispin. And overall, I think this deck has enough answers for the current metagame to kind of come back. And the way that the metagame is shaped around, even though it's only added in one new card, it's really changed how the deck plays out a little bit. So we're going to showcase that in that video today. We've already covered over a little bit of the brief strategy. Here's the deck list. It's available in the description. We're also going to be covering over gameplay and more. So if that sounds great to you, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it. Want to know your opinion. And of course, if you're looking for any of the cards for this deck, check out our sponsors at Kayfabe Cards. They have all the physical cards you probably need to play this deck, and they ship. They're awesome. That's where I get all my cards from. And PTCGOstore.com. They're an online code card reseller, so be sure to pick up some code cards and plug those into PTCG Live to craft this deck easily. Let's jump into that gameplay and see exactly what we got cooking with Lost Zone Tina. So our opponent won the coin flip, and you might be wondering, do we want to go first or do we want to go second? Typically, I like going second with this deck so that we can even get off the Tina attack and start getting things off there. But we have enough kind of power here that we can use Comfey, Buddy Poffin, get off a few flower selecting, so next turn we're ready to pretty much go regardless of whatever deck our opponent's playing. The fact that they're deciding to go second, it can be a little bit spooky. They might be playing something like Miraidon or anything of that sort, so we'll have to figure that out as we play through this first turn. But overall, our hand looks fantastic. I have no gripes about that at all. So we'll see what they decide to flip up. And I'm still pretty like early ladder, so we'll figure out as we're kind of going through here. First things first is I want to use Buddy Poffin because I know I want to get out a few copies of Comfey. The question is, do I want to get out 2? Do I want to get out 3? I think what I'm going to end up doing is just getting out, I'm probably going to end up getting 3 in this matchup, probably playing against Dragapults. And if I have 3, 2 Tinas, 4, 5. Maybe I just need the 2. It's actually like kind of tough to decide. We have 1 Tina prize. Considering we have 2 Tina V prize, I'm just gonna grab 3. Maybe that's gonna come back and bite me. We'll decide. We'll figure that out there. Next things up, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna grab out my Tina V. I want this to evolve for the following turn, and before I do anything else, I want to use flower selecting. I want to play my Pokégear at the end of my turn, just so that we have another supporter for itchy pollen purposes. And let's go flower selecting. This seems like a pretty easy choice when it comes down to it. But at the same time, we also need energy when it comes to discarding things with Radiant Greninja, stuff like that. I think considering we only have 1 Tina V, I'm just going to go ahead and rip through the Tina V, start grabbing the energy. I'm going to go ahead and use Jet Energy here onto our Comfey. I should also double think that, because we could also use Jet Energy to retreat and get out of things next turn. Not going to be able to really attack the Budew next turn, but we could retreat maybe. Let's go ahead. We'll still use the Jet Energy. That's fine. We'll get use out of all of our things and start thinning through our deck now while we have the opportunity. Let's go flower selecting again. Jet Energy to me seems like a much better choice than Mirage Gate. Remember, we also have Crispin now. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm also going to retreat, make sure I'm retreating into the right Comfey. So this is going to get us off 3 of cards into our lost zone, so we're pretty much ready for next turn. I'm going to get rid of the Super Rod there. And for us, the next thing that we're going to do is just go Pokégear. We're going to grab the Colress, and that's fine. Part of me is like, did we need to play the Pokégear? Because we are a little bit more worried about maybe our opponent playing Iono on their first turn, considering most decks playing Budew are going to be playing Arven or Lance. Exactly. We don't need to worry about it too much, and they probably only think we have the one Colress in hand because they don't know the knowledge of what we had previously. We're in a position where we can probably get an attack off with Cramorant the following turn. That'd be really cool if we could. We also have access to Crispin. That's not going to really help us get to where we want when it comes to attacks, but it could come up throughout the game where we have ways to search out our deck of energies and get prepared there. So I'm feeling okay about this so far. We'll knock out the Budew as long as we're able to get Cramorant. We need to find Cramorants off of flower selecting, maybe flower selecting again, and Colress's Experiment. And when you're playing a Lost Zone deck, you want to start off with Colress's Experiment to give yourself the most opportunities to determine what we're looking at here. Bloodmoon, not really going to help us there. We are going to go for Colress here. That might help us. Roxanne could be cool. But I think we're probably going to have to let that card go. I think we're going to grab a Psychic Energy, and I think we're also going to go ahead and grab a Mirage Gate. Maybe I want to have Switch Cart when it comes down to looking at what we put down there. I can't get rid of a second Mirage Gate, so we're going to go like this. Radiant Greninja, let's go ahead and pitch an energy with concealed cards. Again, we're just going to have more cards in our hands. I'd like to have the water to maybe knock out double Dracloak the following turn. The Nest Ball would have been great for the Cramorant had we been able to get there, y'all. Let's go ahead and go flower selecting here. Don't really care about Temple of Sinnoh when it comes down to it. We do have a few opportunities on how we might want to react to the situation. I think what I want to do is, if I attach an energy here to our Radiant Greninja, there is a pretty good chance that we are able to get around this situation and use Jet Energy the following turn. Now, if we don't have that energy in our deck, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fully check to see if we had the third Water Energy. I think I want to go forward with the Radiant Greninja because our opponent could use Budew all they want. So I'm not gonna go for the Cramorant play. I'm just gonna go for Radiant Greninja, putting on a Water Energy here. And I think I want to evolve. There's no reason that I don't want to evolve. Actually, you want to know what? I don't think our opponent's going to take a knockout on this Tina V next turn, no matter what they do. So I'm just going to go ahead here and pass. The reason why I'm not evolving, in case our opponent goes Boss's Orders and then uses Itchy Pollen, I do want to have the access to using Abyss Seeking if necessary. Really here hoping that our opponent does end up just leaving Dracloak, and that our Radiant Greninja is able to take the knockout. They're probably not expecting Crispin coming from us. And we might be able to just like get a snap concession from our opponents. Not to say that we're hoping that our opponent concedes against us, but there's always an opportunity for us to take a couple prize cards here or there. We're also at 6 cards into our lost zone, so if they go forward with a 1 of Tina VSTAR, or sorry, if they go with a 1 of Dragapult EX, we could also knock that out as well, and then it kind of opens up our game. So depending on how things go, I mean, it looks like they're getting a rare candy play going off here. They're probably going to search for rare candy in Forest Sealstone, or either that or Ultra Ball, Terra Orb, or in Forest Sealstone. As long as they have those pieces. Okay, maybe they already have the other things in their hands. And they might be grabbing a Manaphy here. Some lists play Manaphy, some lists do not play Manaphy. So our Radiant Greninja play maybe not going to happen as much as we initially thought, but it does look like our opponent is going to start attacking. Is my thought process here. Gotcha. Okay, looks like they're just not. Wilds. Now for us, we can't get around Manaphy. It's can we get more cards in our Lost Zone? I think we can get to not enough to use Sableye, because Sableye here could rip a few of our opponent's Pokemon. I think what I want to do here, considering we can, yeah, I think we just have to use Colress's Experiment again. And want this, want this, want this. The other two cards, pretty lame cards there. I'm gonna go flower selecting here as well. Just gonna grab more energies. It is gonna be a little bit tough with all these energies just in our hand chilling. We probably want to discard some with Radiant Greninja as well. Seeing what we have in our discard pile, we have a Psychic. I am gonna just try to mix up our energies a little bit. So let's conceal the card away a Grass Energy. Okay, so we're at 9 into our Lost Zone. If our opponent decides to go for the knockout, we're pretty chilling when it comes to it across the board. Their bench is completely full, so they don't have any Dragapult, they don't have anything else like that. I'm hoping to have a really good turn with Sableye, and considering our opponent has not got out their Dragapults, I'm going to go ahead put Sableye down with the Psychic Energy. So next turn, no matter what, I should be able to get there. And now we're just going to pass our turn. So Budew has really slowed down our deck, but you have to think that we're at 9 cards into our Lost Zone, and next turn it looks like we're going to be knocking out a Manaphy, maybe knocking out Budew, taking 2 prize cards at the very least, because Budew does open up a lot of prize card potentials for us to take, especially when it comes to Pokemon like Radiant Greninja, and in this case Sableye as we get to 10 in the Lost Zone. They don't have any way to block it. I don't think our opponent's going to get other things set up, so it's going to be really interesting how our opponent decides to go about this without any Duskulls, Dusknoir, Dusclops, anything like that in play. We should be able to take 2 prize cards, 2 prize cards, 2 prize cards. Our opponent is going to take the first hit, but I also think that they're going to be falling a little bit behind when it comes down to this game, and maybe they'll end up using Boss's Orders, but it looks like no matter what happens next turn, our board state should just be being able to take 2 prize cards, because they can't use Radiant Alakazam to take out the Tina V-Star, and unless they're set up ready for next turn to have another Dragapult, we should just be able to take that out with a Gigas or Tina V-Star, or take 2 prize cards with Sableye. Like, we are set up to go 2-2-2 pretty well against our opponent's deck. I'm kind of excited to see how it plays out for us. And there's their Boss's Orders. Maybe they'll just go after Sableye and take their first 2 prize cards that way. Not sure if I like this play. It does put a lot of damage and pressure onto our board. Probably gonna knock out Comfey, which takes 2, and then put 1 on another Comfey. Okay, that's pretty much exactly what I was expecting anyways. And if our opponent takes 3, that puts them at 2 the following turn. I'm just trying to think if it ever makes more, like, I think for us, the best way to approach this is once we get to 10 into the Lost Zone, should I use Switch Cart in any capacity? Switch Cart does stop them from using Jet Headbutts. How many Switch Cards have we used? We've used 0 Switch Cards, obviously there. So let's go ahead and Switch Cart from this into this. So let's just take some damage off of our Tina just to stop them from potentially using Jet Headbutts, maybe with some Radiant Alakazam motion next turn. Could have been, I think that's probably where I wanted to kind of start things off. I need to think if I want to use Comfey again. Considering that we have so few cards in our deck, I think I just want to I think what I want to do here is pitch an extra card and get them back with Super Rod. So let's go flower selecting first. Card like Boss's Order is probably going to be more impactful than Crispin. Let's go ahead now. Let's pitch our extra Water Energy. I think that makes sense. Let's just go. We probably have enough energies in our deck. We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We'll use one Mirage Gate and hope that we have the energies there. So let's go Psychic Water. I'm completely fine with that. We'll go Psychic goes here, Water goes here. We only need the 2 energies for the Star Requiem, so I think what I'm going to do is just attach the energy there, evolve into this here, and when it comes down to it, we still have Switch Cart, we still have Super Rod. Could use Super Rod here as well if we really wanted to, because I think I want to go Tina V-Star. I just don't know if it's one of those things where maybe I'm throwing by not attacking with the Regigigas right now, because our opponent would be forced to take out the Regigigas and then we could go Tina V-Star. I think that this just has too low HP that I'm kind of forced into attacking with it. So I'm just gonna go Switch Cart goes here. We'll go Nest Ball. We'll go Nest Ball. We'll get out the Gigas. Next turn, we should be able to Mirage Gate over to it. If our opponent decides not to or anything else like that, like I'm okay with how this is turning out. We've already attached for our turn. We've already healed a whole bunch. So let's go make sure that we have 10 before we use Star Requiem. And we're just going to knock out the Dragapult EX. So our opponent, in order to draw... Like, I think we have a pretty good chance of just, like, knocking out our opponent's Pokemon next turn, whatever they have in the active. And maybe things will play out differently. Like, we'll have to determine that. But, like, we still have Sableye on board. Like, we have a lot of energies on board. Okay, so they put Fezandipity in play. So we're not going to have to worry about any Dusknoir plays for whatever reason. Maybe they're not playing it. Maybe they're playing more of a traditional Dragapult deck that doesn't play Dusknoir. Maybe it's just pure Dragapults. Or they're just going for a different line of play. So based off of everything, they're going to have to get their Sparkling Crystal or a Crispin this turn. And if they knock out our Tina V-Star, that's fine. They can't knock out both Tina V-Star and Gigas. Also, if they knock us out, that's pretty much the last opportunity that they're going to have that play going. They haven't played Crispin yet. They haven't played Sparkling Crystal yet. They manually powered up the other Dragapult that we just knocked out. But we're very much on the prowl to go 2-2-2. And no matter what, I think if we go after a Badoo with Sableye or anything else like that, I think we're pretty good. It looks like to me they're probably going to grab Ultra Ball and Sparkling Crystal if they have it, to grab the Dragapults. And the Sparkling Crystal. They might have Sparkling Crystal Prize, which could be interesting. And I'm glad that I healed because I was in range potentially for our opponent to hit for the 70 damage attack on Dragapult EX. Oh, maybe they already have the Sparkling Crystal though. Something definitely to consider here. Because it looks like they're either going to grab another Dracloak or they're going to be grabbing a... Like, there's a few things that our opponent could do, right? One nice thing is if our opponent were to play a Counter Catcher and they're just trying to gain an extra turn. They do play Dusknoir. Interesting. If they go Counter Catcher, bring up our Gigas, at least we have Jet Energy. Like, we can go Jet Energy Boss next turn, knock something out. There's their energy. Do they have the Sparkling Crystal, though? If they don't have Sparkling Crystal... Oh, they just have the Itchy Pollen. Interesting. So there's a few things that I'm thinking about here. We have Sableye. Like, I could just say, nah, I'm not gonna really use Tina. That's cool. If I think maybe I do use Tina and just go Tina, Boss, knock out this. That seems like the best, or actually knocking out they've already used their V-Star. So let's go ahead and go Boss's Orders up this. which is going to put us down at an additional prize cards. I don't think I'm using Radiant Greninja this game. It's just not happening. I just need any energy here. I want to keep that Gen Energy in hand as much as possible. And let's just go ahead here and go for, I think, Lost Impact, taking one off of here to give myself retreatability, and giving one off the Radiant Greninja sounds like the best play, and I'm probably just going to pitch both Water Energies. This gets me down to 2 prize cards. So let's go water there, cool, boom, knockout. We're at 2 prize cards. We have Sableye on board. So I think what I'm trying to do here is I have Prime Catcher Game onto our opponent's Lumineon. I have Sableye just knockout on Bidoof and Manaphy, because damage counters get around Wave Veil. And I also have Regigigas in order to get the knockout on our opponent's Dragapult. So unless I get Ionoed hard here, I have game in hand. And I mean, I'm expecting, I'm not getting Ionoed. That is wild. Looks like we're just winning the game here. Now, our opponent could go after Sableye. They could go for Bidoof. There's a few things that they could do here that would make things a little bit more interesting, I guess, is probably the best way to put it. So we'll decide and determine whatever we have going on after this. Just really waiting to see. Oh, okay, there's Radiant Alakazam. So it looks like our opponent's able to take 2-3 prize cards this turn, and they're able to knock out the Sableye. Now, that tells me that they're going for a Dragapult EX play, and they're knocking out both of our Pokemon and probably just leaving us defenseless. Mirage Gate plus double Super Rod plus Crispin allows us to attach 1 for a turn, 1 for Crispin, 2 for Mirage Gates. So as long as we have access to 4 energies, which we are able to get fully with our opponent taking a knockout on pretty much any of our Pokemon, we could also get that with Radiant Greninja. We are big chillin' just with the Gigas knockout. So I think that's what we're going to end up going with, because our opponent is a Terra Pokemon. We are able to knock it out. And they're probably just thinking about it, just being like, hey, is this safe? Oh, they're gonna go Counter Catcher. Okay, so they're just gonna go double knockout here, and just, I guess they're gonna knock out the Gigas. Now, do I think there's a world where we actually could have missed this? No, I think I would have Super Rodded back in Sableye, used Comfey. I mean, we could definitely just get it. So I think, like, what we'll end up doing here is just going Comfey and just seeing how things go. I'd almost want to attack with it. There's another Mirage Gate. We can go through all this, or we could put our opponent out of their misery. I would have loved to attack with Gigas, and I don't want to go through all the hoops of what it could be. So we'll just go like this. Our opponent's only taken 3 prize cards. We'll slap on an extra energy here, so we're able to attack with Lost Impact. And we're just going to Lost Impact and put ourselves in the exact same position, since our opponent only took the 2 prize cards there. So there's the knockout. Tina definitely carried here, because our opponent put down a lot of 2 prize card Pokemon. I think Dusknoir would have made it a little bit more difficult for us. But given everything, I think that Lost Tina rips through Dragapult, because you have so many options to take multiple prize cards where they just have less options than you. As you can see, there's a lot of options when it comes to playing this deck, and it's a deck that I wouldn't necessarily just recommend jumping into, because you definitely could be a little bit rusty, like myself, when it comes to playing it. I'm like, there's some interesting decisions, especially when there's in the face of a Bidoof that's using Itchy Pollen. However, being able to use Star Requiem to knock out any Pokemon, especially those Pokemon that have more than 200 HP, is huge. Using Jewel Breaker to knock out your opponent's Terra Pokemon, huge. Forcing your opponent to bench cards like Manaphy, if they even play them with Radiant Greninja, huge. And of course, Sableye, just forcing that Manaphy and Bidoof into that double prize card range with an additional damage counters to boot. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with this deck. And I think overall, I like how the list looks. And I think it's one of those things where matchup spread wise seems quite good in this current metagame. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this deck pop up a little bit at some League Cups, League Challenges, maybe even the regionals in Mexico, and of course the Puerto Rico special event before the European International Championships. Tina was one of the absolute best decks, if not the best deck, the same way that Regigigas was about a year ago, and to see it kind of come back for its one final victory lap here right before rotation is certainly something spectacular. So if you put these cards to the back of your shoebox, maybe pull them out, or if you need any cards, check out Kayfabe Cards and PTCG Store. Other than that, if you're trying to support me as a content creator, feel free to hit me up for a Pokemon TCG coaching session. I'd love to help you improve your game on a one-on-one level. Or if you're looking for any of my guides, anything like that, check out my metafy.gg/@ZachLesage. I appreciate all y'all watching. Thank you so much. We'll catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.